Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of Top End Track Talk. I'm Andrew O'Toole, and today we'll be having a look at this coming Saturday's meeting here at Fanny Bay, the 16th of November. A strong five-race card has been assembled with some 47 acceptors down to do battle on what looks a tricky card on paper. Melbourne Cup Day was a highlight for the Gary Clark stable with 5 winners from the 6 races on the day, and the leading barn here in the top end looks to have some decent chances again this weekend. The first in Darwin will get underway at the mid-afternoon time of 2:44 p.m. Northern Territory time, and is the Darwin Hall of Fame inductee Paul Shire's handicap. Incidentally, many congratulations to Sherry, who was the latest inductee into the Darwin Racing Hall of Fame here on Melbourne Cup Day. A tremendous honour and richly deserved. In the first, a 0 to 64 event over 1,300 metres, and my numbers are 3, 1, 7 and 2. I'm going here with number 3, Warface from the Phil Cole stable. Jared Todd in the saddle. Only had the one start in Darwin, and I thought did a really good job finishing 5th here. That was behind Patriot Day on the 26th of October, Cox Plate Day. Young Dan Morgan, the Alice Springs apprentice, rode on that day. Did nothing wrong, but the senior rider goes on this time, and from the one gate over this trip of 1,300, I think Warface comes right into it. Number 3 on top for me, ahead of number 1, McIntyre. Gary LaFoe Jr., the trainer here, and of course Paul Shire's in the saddle. McIntyre was a good third last time out here in the same race behind Patriot Day. Got back out of its ground early in the race, but certainly stormed home over the concluding stages. That was 1,100. Certainly the 1,300 metres you would expect would be no impediment. In for third, number 7, Dubawi Sniper from the Jason Manning stable. Vanessa Arnold, as usual, in the saddle. Was a good winner here, 2 starts back, and then last time out when drawn 10, trapped wide throughout. Has a better draw this time in barrier 2, and I think he'll be right in the party. And in for 4th, number 2, Patria. 3, 1, 7 and 2 in the day's opener. The second's the Sky Racing Handicap. It's the benchmark 54 and it's over 1,200 metres. Numbers here 1, 2, 5 and 3. I'm going here with the last start winner, Trebler, one of Gary Clark's 5 winners on Melbourne Cup Day. Kimmy Gladwin in the saddle. That was over the 1,300. Back to the 1,200, I don't think it'll worry Trebler. Rolls along off the front of the pack normally, and I think gets another chance to go back-to-back here. Number 1 on top for me, ahead of number 2, Twilight Manoeuvre. Chris Pollard, the trainer, and Barry Huppert's in the saddle. That combo's been going pretty good of late. Twilight Manoeuvre was a winner 3 starts back, and then last time out finished 4th behind Patriot Day and only beaten 2.7 lengths. In for third, number 5, My Snip. Jared Todd aboard for Phil Cole. A fresh runner, hasn't raced for a couple of months and should race well in that state. And in for 4th, number 3, one of the tried horses in Clearview Diamond. 1, 2, 5 and 3. The third's the Asian United Food Service Trobus Plate. It's the maiden and 3-year-old Class 2 event. In fact, it's a total maiden. There's no winners in the event, but obviously the conditions of the race opened it up to the 3-year-olds up to Class 2. But it's basically a maiden race run at set weights and penalties. My numbers here, 9, 4, 3 and 5. Going here with Gary Clark's Kalmar. Brendan Davis in the saddle. 2 seconds his last 2. One of those back in Alice during the carnival, and then last time out to behind stablemate Frilly Design. Was well beaten on that occasion, but beat the rest easily enough, and I think Kalmar gets its opportunity to break through for a well-deserved win. 9 on top, ahead of number 4. That's Liberty's Torch. If ever a horse deserved to win a race, it's Liberty's Torch. Has had no less than 8 seconds and 4 thirds. Still a maiden, and hopefully will race really well again. I'm sure it will, it always does. Matthew Palmer, the visiting Brisbane jockey, in the saddle for Kerry Petrick. My third selection here is number 3, a newcomer to Darwin, Kowloon Kid from the stable of Gary Clark. Kim Gladwin in the saddle. This horse had a trial recently and has some okay form in Victoria, so putting that in for third. And in for 4th, number 5, Telling Stories. 9, 4, 3 and 5. The 4th's the Designer Kitchens Handicap. It's the 0 to 58. It's over the sprint trip of 1,000 metres. 2, 4, 1 and 3 are my numbers here. Going here with number 2, Ann Sinner from the Carl Spry stable. Matthew Palmer takes the mount here for Carl. Good second first up the other day behind Puzzled Princess. Second up here and should have improved, or should have taken improvement from that first up run and be hard to beat. So 2 on top for me. Ahead of number 4, Iron Lotus, now in the Chris Pollard stable. Formerly trained, of course, by Gary Clark. Barry Huppert's aboard. It's run the other day behind Puzzled Princess. I thought was pretty good. Finished third, beaten about 5. Should be thereabouts. In for third, number 1, the fresh runner, Tregoric. now trained by Felicia Bergström, and Fleck takes the mount. Put 4 second placings together in a row in its last campaign. Fresh up over the sprint trip, should be right in the party. And in for fourth, number 3, Good to Be Great. 2, 4, 1 and 3 in the fourth. And in the last, it's the Great Northern Brewing Company handicap. It's a great drop as well. It's 1,000 metres over 1,000 metres rather, for the 0 to 70 gallopers. Numbers here 1, 2, 10 and 3. I'm going to forgive So Stoic his last start failure in the weight for age here on Melbourne Cup Day behind the captain. Carried weight for age obviously on that occasion, 58.5 kilograms. He's got 61 this time, book weight, but will benefit from the 3 kilogram apprentice allowance of young Bonnie Police, the West Australian rider here for the day. And I think So Stoic's earlier form was really consistent, so I'm prepared to allow him that one failure. I've got him on top to return to the winner's circle. 1 on top. Ahead of 2, Another Bit. The barrier draw last time was a huge impediment to Another Bit, never got on the track. Unfortunately, he's drawn badly again in barrier 10, but a few might just bring him across and he might be able to get a little closer to the inside running rail. He's very smart. Brendan Davis for Gary Clark. In for third, we go over the page to Puzzled Princess from the Tayan Halter stable. Was a good winner last time out here, and admittedly in 0 to 58 grade. Felicia Bergström on. Goes quick and will give them something to chase for sure. And in for fourth, the last start winner, Patriot Day. He can't be left out of calculations either. 1, 2, 10 and 3 in a pretty good race to end the 5-race card. The best bet of the day comes up in race 3, and it is number 9, Kalmar. Gets its ideal opportunity to break maiden ranks. So race 3, number 9, Kalmar. Well, the best roughies in race 5, the fresh up number 6, Dancer's Kin. Probably won't be that rough either. It was the last start winner here during the carnival. It hasn't raced since then. Race 5, number 6, Dancer's Kin. The $50 Garrett's Horse and Hound voucher for our last meeting here on Melbourne Cup Day, not surprisingly, goes to Gary Clark for his sensational 5-timer with Harmonium Bells, Trebler, The Captain, No Alibi and Frilly Design. Gary believes it's the second time that he's trained 5 winners on a day, and he also rode 5 one day when he was a jockey. A marvellous performance by the Clark team, and I know either Gary or Charlene will be in any day to see David Bates to collect that voucher from Garrett's Horse and Hound in Winnellie. In our next Top End Track Talk segment, jockeys will be in vogue for the $50 Garrard's Horse and Hound voucher, and that of course applies to this coming Saturday's meeting, the 16th of November. Well, that wraps up this edition of Top End Track Talk, but we'll be back again in advance, of our next meeting, which is in 7 days' time on the 23rd of November. And in the meantime, good luck and good punting.